So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We finally made it to season 1, episode 10, the finale for the Proud Family, Louder and Prouder. Now, this series honestly has been a little bit of an up and down for me. I came into it originally thinking it was going to be woke trash, right? And while there is definitely some tendencies there in certain episodes, and one of them in particular was really bad, some of the earlier ones, overall, I would really just put this as being an average show. It literally doesn't have anything that super really stands out. There were some episodes that had really good messaging in it, and there's other episodes that had really trash messaging in it. So I really wish the consistency was something that was more apparent, but unfortunately, it's not a very consistent show. I guess it just depends on who's writing which episode. If they don't use the same writers, which I just don't think they do, they probably alternate writers per episode. But with that being said, guys, I'm only going to ask you 2 things. Of course, please consider liking this video so you can help the channel continue to grow. And not only that, give this video a long view duration. That way it pushes it out to more and more people, and it helps us fight the YouTube algorithm that we fight every single day. And with that being said, let's get into the season 1, episode 10 finale for the Proud Family. So this episode starts out pretty normally, right? It starts out with Oscar and Trudy's trying to look up her own personal history, like her family history, and she starts going down a rabbit hole where she is basically asked by Oscar if she's gonna cook anything. Of course, Trudy's gonna say no and gets this pissy face against Oscar because Trudy basically runs the show. She's the strong woman that needs no man kind of a thing, and Oscar needs to bend over and take it essentially. But she also does it to Penny too. Penny comes and says, "What's there to eat, Mom?" And she says, "You go make something to eat," essentially gives her a dirty look, and then Penny ends up backing up as well, just like Oscar. Then Trudy ends up talking about the family history of the Proud family and where they essentially came from, and she realizes after enough digging that they actually came from, I believe, Oklahoma. And then there's this whole interesting stint of Oscar connecting with his tribal roots, essentially. Check this out, it's pretty crazy. So I thought that was pretty interesting to just go like complete African like he decided to do. But anyway, that's besides the point. Then obviously they start looking up SUGAMAMAS. So Trudy starts looking up SUGAMAMAS history, and she just looks completely batshit crazy, and it's because she hasn't slept at all. She's been completely obsessed with the family history and trying to see if she can find out anything. Where did everybody come from? Where did SUGAMAMA come from? That's the next thing that they're going to try to figure out. And that's essentially what this entire episode is about, Old Town Road. So Oscar and Penny try to talk to Trudy and try to talk her out of going down this kind of rabbit hole, and then that's when Trudy discovers this. Check it out.
You never told me your people were from Oklahoma.
I didn't know Sugar Mama even had people. The only people I knew was Ray Ray and them, and they was on my daddy's side.
Well, what was on your daddy's side, boy?
My good looks.
Yeah.
So like I said, they come from Oklahoma, and that's what they found out. And then when Sugar Mama arrives, she obviously has to diss Oscar and remind him that Bobby is her favorite son. And then as they go forward, you see them kind of competing for Sugar Mama's love. And then Trudy ends up asking Sugar Mama, "Hey, is it true that you're from Oklahoma?" Of which Sugar Mama then gets really defensive and does not want to talk about it. Check it out.
But Sugar Mama,
I told you, Trudy, I don't want to talk about it.
I tell you one thing you're gonna talk about, old woman. Why didn't you give me ice cream and some new clothes?
So obviously something is going on with that, right? So Sugar Mama does not want to talk about her family history, and there has to be a reason for it. But then what ends up happening is that she ends up getting invited. Trudy ends up getting invited to the yearly family gathering in Oklahoma. It's called Town, Oklahoma, where it says, "Invitation, dear Charlotte, we would be delighted to see you and your family at our yearly town family gathering, where Town, Oklahoma, when in 3 weeks." So obviously Trudy's going to want to take this, and everybody tries to fight her on it because they don't want to go. And Sugar Mama obviously doesn't want to go, but Trudy's going to force them because if Trudy wants to get her way, then she will get her way. They ended up strapping Sugar Mama to her chair because she didn't want to go and putting it on top of the car, and they drive to town in Oklahoma. So then you have this entire scene. Obviously, there's music playing. I cannot play it because of copyright. Penny ends up getting a call from her boyfriend, talks about how much they miss each other, and La Cienega is trying to swoop in and steal him from Penny, which, again, was a theme from earlier on in a few episodes back. Apparently, that is now becoming a thing again. And Penny gets real mad at the situation because she didn't want to leave those two alone, and she doesn't trust La Cienega. And honestly, I don't trust La Cienega either. I wouldn't if I was Penny. So we fast forward, and then they start to see Town, Oklahoma is a super country town. It is like basically a Hicksville. Like you're in the middle of nowhere kind of a thing. It's like an old Western. And there's more and more driving scenes. There's a lot of driving scenes in this particular episode. And then they end up reaching the town. And in this town, everybody basically looks like Sugar Mama, or at least is designed to look like Sugar Mama with the same facial features and all of that. When you look at the characters, they all have that same exact mug. It's literally all the same. The men, the women, it doesn't matter. They all look like Sugar Mama, which I think is pretty damn funny. This is basically a male version of Sugar Mama. That's basically what it looks like, because you can see it's the same exact kind of graphical style, same mug, same everything. And then we have a welcoming that's not so welcoming. Check it out.
Yeah, it's me. Hi, Paul. Good to see you again.
I thought I told you to never come back here.
So obviously after that, you realize that there is some kind of falling out between Paul and Sugar Mama. Who knows what that is at this point in time, and Paul ends up leaving the situation where they are all kind of dumbfounded at that kind of response, because I guess they weren't expecting that. But they still end up welcoming them anyway, and then this person shows up, check it out, riding an ostrich too on top of that.
Bobby, Penny, strap it to the roof. You can ride inside this time, Sugar Mama, but don't get used to it.
Hey, everybody. I'm Murder.
So this is probably one of the few characters in this area that does not look like Sugar Mama. So I don't know if they're part of the same exact family, but who really knows? So then they end up joining the town, and there is a outdoor festivity going on right now where Bobby and the entire family partake in the entire thing. They eat, they enjoy music, all the typical stuff that you would expect as the family starts to introduce themselves and you start meeting different people. Check it out.
I forgot. Why don't you refresh my memory, baby brother?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you thought you were too good. That you didn't know your place.
What? I didn't know my place.
So you start finding out a little more information bit by bit. Apparently, people are not happy at Sugar Mama for leaving town, Oklahoma. They think that she thought that she was too good for the place. And obviously, look at where they're coming from. So these people are in the country, right? Sugar Mama ended up leaving for a city kind of lifestyle. We don't quite know why that is just yet. But obviously there was some turmoil there, and they don't like her for it. So again, the women don't really seem to look like Sugar Mama, although this baby does actually look like Sugar Mama, which is pretty funny. Then the babies almost get hit by a bull. The bull ends up running past, and they get roped together by one of the cowboys. And then this happens. Check it out.
Oh, gracias for saying tico, Cousin Oscar.
I'm really proud of you, Oscar.
So Oscar ends up doing a good thing, and the town starts to accept them, including his entire family. And then we fast forward and we see Sugar Mama is still not happy about this whole situation, and just being there is making her uncomfortable. Check it out.
Let me show you the piece of land that you're gonna inherit from me one day. I don't know why I'm crying. It's just what real parental love feels like.
So Oscar ends up crying because he doesn't get any kind of love from Sugar Mama, so he's shocked to get this amount of love from this entire family. So obviously it ends up throwing him off, and he's not used to it. Then Penny ends up going back on her phone, trying to take pictures to send to her boyfriend, and she's getting talked to by part of the kids in the family. Check it out.
Call.
So what do you guys do around here for fun? Go to the swimming hole.
Hole. Skip rocks.
Skip what?
Net.
Mama, can I holler at you right quick?
So Penny ends up freaking out because, again, she's a spoiled city brat, and she doesn't understand that people don't need all the technology luxuries in order to survive or even have fun, for that matter. She just doesn't have that kind of knowledge. You know, she's young still at the end of the day, so you can't blame her. But the city is all that she's known, and she doesn't want to stick around here because her phone's not working, she has no service, and she doesn't understand how these people can pretty much live or have fun or anything like that. So Bobby ends up joining the musical crowd on top of the stage, and they start to make music together, and I believe this is when Old Town Road starts playing. So obviously I cannot play any videos from this, because if I do, I will get hardcore copyrighted. But the entire family starts to have a ton of fun. They start to realize, Penny especially starts to realize, that there's a lot to do out here, and you don't have to be a city person in order to be able to enjoy yourself. And then she tries to still get signal from her phone, and it still doesn't work. Check it out.
What?
So they end up setting up Penny because this little fish over here has been trying to attack the other little kids, and they knew that the fish was going to show up to try to attack Penny if she jumped in the water. So she got tricked, and the fish ended up going on top of the tree, not actually wanting to attack Penny at all. And then Sugar Mama ends up trying to rekindle a relationship with her family little by little. It goes rough at first, but then she has a flashback of when she herself was a child, and it kind of gives you an idea of what exactly happened in the past. Check it out.
Quit your messing around. Stop all that crying. Town men don't cry. We gotta get ready for the junior rodeo. I told Hurricane here to take it easy on you.
So one of her brothers is just completely incapable of handling the bull whatsoever, and he's being really rough to him because he says that the boys cannot cry. And then that's when Sugar Mama, when she was young, decided to jump on the bull and completely outclass, obviously, her brother, and it ended up making the father feel some type of way because he's just not happy with girls doing that stuff. Girls just don't do that, and he specifically tells her that girls don't do that. Check it out.
How do you know that? Now go in the house and cook dinner. I'm hungry.
Oh, you never change, Paul. I can't stand you.
So he basically told her to get in the house and go cook dinner, which is pretty damn funny. But again, those old school kind of like mindsets is very prevalent in the country lifestyle, and there's nothing wrong with that. But obviously Sugar Mama had a problem with it, and that's probably why she ended up leaving in the first place. She tried to showcase to her father that she had the skills in order to do what the boys were doing, but she was told that she could not do it and that she had to just go be a lady and go home and go cook something or whatever the case may be. That ends up making her very sad, and then the episode ends up ending from there. So ultimately, guys, this episode was pretty decent. It really wasn't that bad at all. I didn't have any problem with it. There really wasn't any kind of messaging in this episode whatsoever, other than the kind of like maybe the girl boss thing at the end. But it's not really a girl boss thing, truthfully. It's just a woman who had some skills that her father didn't want to recognize, and that led to some turmoil that we are going to eventually see the product of in season 2, episode 1, because this is where season 1 ends. So overall, guys, this particular episode of the Proud Family Louder and Prouder, episode number 10, I'm gonna give a solid 7.5 out of 10. I thought it was a pretty good episode overall. I think it was a little boring compared to some of the other episodes that we watched. There really wasn't too much that was going on in this particular episode. This was more, I guess, of a backstory or a setup for season 2, because they wanted to get you excited or questioning what's gonna happen in season 2. So I really don't think there was much going on in this other than that, but it was interesting to see some sort of background regarding Sugar Mama and whatnot, because you don't really get to see that too often, because she's definitely more of a mysterious character and one that hasn't really been explored too much. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy, and if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next season. Hypnotic out.